Hi guys, how are you? I hope that you're all fine. Let's start our today's lesson, and it's of course about reading and vocabulary. But before we start reading our article for today, I want you to get the whole idea of our first unit. Look at this picture here, that's the cover of our first unit. Look at these hands. How do they look different in shape, size, and age? Look, that's a child's hand, a mother's hand, and a grandmother's hand. It's very clear that they are three different generations that are side by side. They could be tied and related, connected together. They could be from the same family. And that's our title, which is Family Ties. So ties means the connections between people in the same family. Now let's move to our main lesson, which is the reading lesson. Before we start reading our article for today, this one, I want you to look at this picture here and tell me how can you relate this picture to yourself and your family members. Like for example, if we looked at this old woman, could she be a grandmother? This boy for example, he could be a son, he could be a brother. And if we just keep looking at the rest of the pictures, we can relate each person here to ourself and our family members. Now let's move to the article itself. You have something new here in this book, which is called the word focus. This part. The word focus contains the main words that you will meet in the article. The first one here is gene. What does it mean by the word gene? Gene is a part of a cell passed from parents to children that determines how they look. That generation. The people of about the same age in a particular family. Next, we have ancestor, person related to you who lived a long time ago. So this means that they are our grandparents? No, they more than our grandparents. Genealogy, it's the study of a family history. Now, we're going to read the article itself. Meet the ancestors. What makes you who you are? So this means that in this article, we're going to know why do we look this like this? Why we have this specific characteristics? It's so interesting, yes? Part of the answer is in your family's past. Become a detective and find clues to your family history. It's so interesting, yes, that we're going to meet our ancestors. We're going to learn how we can just meet people who died long time ago. Let's read the first part here. When you look in the mirror, do you see your father's smile? Maybe you take after your mother or look like a grandparent. That's because of DNA. Our DNA contains genes that make each person in the world different. No two people look, think, or act the same. Yes, sure. We pass down our genes through generations. Scientists can test your DNA to find out which part of the world your ancestors were from. Let's explain this part. Here, this part is just telling you. If you just look in the mirror, you're going to find sometimes that you have the same smile like your mother, maybe the same eyes like your father. So this means that take after equal look like. Why? That's because of DNA. What is the DNA? The DNA it's the part which is responsible to determine how do we look. It contains the genes that determines how do we look, that make each person in the world different. We pass down our genes through generations. So this means that our parents just transfer to us the genes that determines how do we look. And the scientists use the DNA to know which part of the world your ancestors were from. 2. Your family's history may be a mystery to you, but there is a way to find out about it. It's called genealogy, and it's the study of the people you are related to. Genealogy helps you put together your family history. It starts with the relatives you know, such as parents and grandparents, and then you can learn about ancestors who lived and died before you were born. This means that if your family's history is unknown, that you don't know about it, how you could learn and discover it. So this means that find out mean to learn and discover. How you're going to find out? Through genealogy. Genealogy is the study of a family history. This is going to help you a lot. So you're going to start with your relatives, because you're going to ask them a lot about your parents, grandparents, and maybe you're going to know more about your ancestors. 3. It isn't difficult to learn about your past. You can begin by asking your relatives questions about your ancestors. While you're talking with family members, take notes. This, this helps you organize any information you get. Make sure you write down any names, dates, or places people mention. Then you can draw a family tree with your name at the top. Then you will add all the relatives from you to your great grandparents, so you can see how everyone is related. So how can you start? You're going to start with your relatives. Just to start to ask them questions about your ancestors. Draw a family tree and write your name at the top, and then you can write all of the names that which is related to you. And don't forget that taking notes is going to help you a lot. Write any piece of information that could help you. Write the names, the dates, and the places that the people mention. 4. What could you do if still you have some blank places, blank boxes here? Blank means empty. How we are going to fill those blank places? How you're going to know more? So now you need to be a little bit a detective. Many people begin at a library where they can look for family names in all newspapers. Public records are usually a very good thing to look at too. They have information about births, marriage, and death certificates too. Some records show when people move to a country. Sometimes records tell you where people went to school and what their job was. You can also search the internet. With every bit of research you do, you're discovering your family's history. So, this point number 4 is just to help you and giving you more steps that you can do to find more about your family's past, your ancestors. You can just search in the library, you can search the internet, you can search the public records. Public records means the records which is allowed to all the people to view, to know more, to listen, to read. Now, after we finished explaining our article, and I hope that it was interesting and easy to you, I want you now to pause the video and read exercise D, the questions in exercise D. After reading the questions, just to go back to the article, read it one more time, please, and then open the video again, because we're going to answer the questions together. Here, now I hope that you have read the article as I told you, and now we're going to answer the questions together. We're going to look at the sentence below about studying your family history. Read the text, decide if each sentence is correct or incorrect, write true or false. You have already did this step. We look the way we do because of the genes in our DNA. Huh, what do you think? What do you think? Is it true or false? Huh, yes, it's true. A DNA test can show where in the world our ancestors lived. What do you think? Is it true or false? Huh. If we just make a DNA test, we're going to know where in the world our ancestors lived. Is it true or false? Huh. We're going to answer and then we're going to check it all at the end, in the answer. You can find out the number of relatives you have in a DNA test. Is that possible? To know how many relatives I have from the DNA test? False. Genealogy is the history of our past and present family members. True or false? False. Relatives who are alive could have information about ancestors. Is that right? Huh? A family tree shows how you are related to other people in your family. What do you think? True? A detective can help you to find information about your family. What do you think? I'm going to get a detective to help me? It's possible to buy old newspapers at some libraries. If we mentioned this while we're reading the article, public records tell you when people were born. Hmm. The text says that websites here means the internet sure, can help you find information about your ancestors. Let's check it all and to find if our answers were right or wrong. Yes, right, they are all right. Now let's move to exercise F. This. All of these words we have already explained it while we are reading the article, but I want you to know it more. That's exercise about it. Find the underlined words in the text and think about what they mean. Here, like for example, the number one, take after. While we're explaining the article, I told you that take after and look like they have the same meaning. Those are phrasal verb. What does it mean by a phrasal verb? Hmm. What does it mean by the phrasal verb? A phrase that consists a verb and another element, typically either an adverb as in breakdown. Okay? So, what does it mean by a phrasal verb? It's a phrase that consists a verb and another element. It could be an adverb or a preposition. Okay? So, take after. What does it mean by take after? To follow somebody or to be like somebody? Huh? What do you think? Let's let's answer to be like somebody. Number two, look like. What does it mean by to look like? To have a similar appearance or to see things you enjoy? Sure, to have a similar appearance. Pass down, as we said it, that our parents or we pass down our genes through generations. It means to transfer to relative, family member. Find out, to take outside or to discover and learn. To discover and learn. Look for, to be similar to or try to find. To try to find. Now let's check our answer. It's the same. Now we have finished our lesson. I'm waiting for your questions. I'm going to reply as soon as possible.